In today's video, I'm going to provide a practical guide on how to fund a mini retirement. Have you ever wanted to take a break from work, a sabbatical, a leave of absence, or even a mini retirement, but felt like you simply couldn't afford it? If yes, then this video is for you. By the end of this video, you'll know how much money you need to save, where you should put those savings, how to use those savings to fund your expenses, and the most common financial mistake that you should avoid when taking your first mini retirement. So let's get into it. In case you haven't seen some of our other videos on mini retirements, let's first start by defining this term. A mini retirement is a small, intentional break from work. Traditionally, we think of our career in adult life as two stages. The first stage is approximately 40 years of continuous work with vacations and holidays. And the second stage is retirement, a work-free stage that goes from around age 60 until we die. A mini retirement approach takes that 20 to 40 year work-free stage and spreads it out. Mini retirement means not just two stages to live, but so many stages. Mini retirements can be known by a few other terms as well. Other people use the terms career break, sabbatical, or even leave of absence. All of these can be used interchangeably, although sabbatical or leave of absence often imply the intent to return to the same employer. Mini retirement is therefore a more general term that can be applied to all of these situations. We like this term because of the intentionality behind it. Generally speaking, there are two ways to fund a mini retirement. You can self-fund it, meaning that you pay for it yourself, or you can negotiate an employer-sponsored break from work. An employer-sponsored break is often paid, and you continue to receive your salary or a percentage of your salary while on the break. There are actually studies that have shown that paid sabbaticals can be mutually beneficial for both the employer and the employee, but it is still rare for employers to offer paid sabbaticals or paid leaves, except for very specific reasons. Because of this, I'm going to focus this video on how to self-fund your mini retirement, knowing that this will be valuable to a larger number of people. In other words, if you're not continuing to receive a salary from an employer, we'll dig into how you can afford to take a mini retirement and the practical steps to take before and during your mini retirement. This video topic actually came from a comment on our first video on mini retirement. Nikki Claypool said this: I think doing an entire video on different ways to fund it would be great. I would recover from burnout and tend to my health. She goes on to say a few other things, but this inspired the video topic today. And this is a nice reminder that if you have other video topic ideas, feel free to put those in the comments below. Okay, so let's talk about how to fund your mini retirement. The first step is to better understand what it will cost to take your mini retirement. To do this, you'll need to define what you'd like to do with your mini retirement. Are you looking to simply recover from burnout and spend most of your break resting, sleeping, and recharging your batteries? Or are you looking to take an epic adventure with travel or additional expenses? And it's not only what do you want to do, but also how long of a break do you want to take? I've known people to take 2 to 4 months for a mini retirement, and I've also known people who have taken 1 to 3 years off from work. Identifying what you want to do and how long you want to do it is the first step in understanding what this mini retirement will cost you. The other important step is to consider your ongoing fixed costs that are part of your normal everyday expenses. Things like housing costs, insurance, debt payments, etc. Let me give you an example of how this might work. Sandra wants to take 3 months off as a mini retirement. Her goal with a mini retirement is twofold: to recover from burnout and also to hike the Camino de Santiago, a 500-mile trek across Spain. She is splitting the mini retirement in half, giving herself 45 days to recover and another 45 days to hike the Camino. She regularly spends $60,000 per year, which includes $15,000 per year in discretionary spending. This means on average, she spends $5,000 per month, with $1,250 of that as discretionary spending. She estimates that with travel to and from Europe, she'll need about $4,000 to hike the Camino. As a note, this is an estimate. I personally haven't hiked the Camino, but based on some research, it looks like $50 per day is more than adequate to budget, plus flights to and from. It seems like it's possible to do it for less, so do your own math and planning for whatever you choose to pursue. Based on what we know about Sandra, here's what the cost of a mini retirement would look like. $13,125 of her normal everyday expenses. This is 1.5 months of her normal $5,000 per month, since she would be doing her normal routine at home for half of the break, and 1.5 months of her fixed costs of $3,750 that she'd anticipate while on the Camino. Since she'll be traveling, she could subtract her discretionary expenses, since those will be accounted for in her travel expenses. And then lastly, $4,000, the costs specific to hiking the Camino. This comes out to a total of $17,125. This is just an example of how to estimate the cost of a mini retirement. Feel free to get more specific if you have the information to do so, particularly around estimating which of your personal expenses will decrease. For example, if you know that you typically spend $500 a month on eating out that you won't spend on part or all of your mini retirement, feel free to incorporate that into your plan. Once you have an estimate for what your mini retirement will cost, the next part of funding your mini retirement is figuring out what money to use to pay for it. When it comes to paying for your mini retirement, there are a lot of options available to you, specifically in where you're pulling funds from to pay for this break. I think there is one way that is preferred over others, but before I go to the preferred method, let's talk about some of the other more popular options. First, you have the option of paying for this break from work with a credit card. In other words, taking on consumer debt to fund your break from work. As with all things, this is always an option. The downside is that you will end up paying additional interest to fund the break, and will likely take you significant time to pay it back. In Sandra's situation, she may end up paying $20,000 or even $30,000 after all is said and done. We don't recommend this option, like at all. Our goal with taking a mini retirement is to find a balance between enjoying life now while also not limiting ourselves in the future. The second option available to you, assuming that you have a 401k or an employer-sponsored retirement plan, is that you can also take an early distribution to fund this break. This is also not advised. Not only will you pay a 10% penalty, but you also have to pay taxes on the amount you withdraw. In most cases, I recommend thinking of the money in your 401k as money for your traditional retirement and nothing else. In addition to the fees and taxes, you'll also have the opportunity cost and the growth and appreciation that you would miss out on. The third option, if you've been savvy with your finances up to this point, you may also have an emergency fund or cash set aside in case of unexpected emergencies. Depending on how much cash you have, this may be a good decision. A good rule of thumb is to have at least 3 to 6 months worth of expenses in your emergency fund. So if you have enough to fund your mini retirement and to keep 3 to 6 months of expenses in your emergency fund, you could pull from this fund to pay for your mini retirement. Some of you may have investments in a taxable brokerage account. This is where you can invest in the stock market outside of a tax-advantaged retirement account. This type of account allows you to sell off investments to pay for your mini retirement. You wouldn't pay a penalty like you would for selling off investments in a 401k, but you would pay taxes on the capital gains or how much the equity has appreciated since you purchased it. The downsides are the implications to your taxes and potentially using money that is intended for some other purpose. But there can be a time and place for using these funds, especially if you have a large amount set aside in your retirement accounts. When we sold our Boston condo and moved to New Hampshire, we had quite a bit of equity, but we also sold off some of our investments in our taxable brokerage account to buy our New Hampshire home in cash. This allowed us to avoid high mortgage interest rates, among a few other reasons, but the downside is that we are using funds that we initially earmarked for retirement. So there was a trade-off. Those are some of the most popular options, but now let's get to our preferred method for paying for your mini retirement. We recommend setting money aside specifically for your mini retirement. This ensures that you minimize any impact on your tax bill and does not take away from other funds with a different purpose. Think of this money as similar to FU money, money in addition to an emergency fund that can fund an intentional lifestyle option like a mini retirement. Look at the cost of your mini retirement and contribute a set amount each month toward that goal. Depending on your disposable income, this could take you several months or years to get to the point of being able to fully fund your mini retirement. If you're highly motivated to take that mini retirement, you may also find yourself prioritizing saving toward this goal instead of buying unnecessary items for the dopamine hit. I also highly recommend getting a high yield savings account as a place to stash the money earmarked for your mini retirement while you're saving. Generally speaking, for any expense where you will need the funds in the short term, so less than 5 years, I recommend keeping that money in a high yield savings account. And once you've reached your savings goal, it's time to pull the trigger and take your mini retirement. You have the option to negotiate a leave of absence or to quit your job entirely. This is a personal decision that will depend on a number of things, including how long your break is, whether you intend or want to return to the same job, and a number of other factors. And once you are on your mini retirement, you can then use the funds you have saved as a pseudo salary. Feel free to transfer those funds on a regular basis as if you were getting a paid paycheck from your employer. This mimics the feeling of getting a regular paycheck, but you are the one who's paying yourself. You prepared for this break and deserve to feel confident. You, of course, have the option of transferring the entire amount to your main checking account at the beginning of your break, but this loses an opportunity to gain higher interest in the high yield savings account and is another change from normal. Speaking from someone who recently transitioned from having a steady paycheck to not having one at all, it can be a lot to process, and I'd recommend keeping it as normal as possible for the psychological benefit. Now you are equipped to plan and fund your mini retirement. But wait, one more thing before I go. If you do decide to leave your job and find another one after your mini retirement, build that into your plan as well. Add additional plan time and expenses to your plan to allow yourself a runway for finding a new job or contract work, or even starting your own business. Not planning for this runway or buffer can increase your stress levels and can lead to moments of regret. That's the last thing you want from taking a mini retirement. So build it into the plan at the very beginning. Depending on your industry and work experience, it may make sense to add 1 to 3 months of planned expenses to avoid any feelings of scarcity. Even if you were the most sought after candidate and were to apply, interview, and accept a job offer on the first day back from your mini retirement, companies will often need some time to prepare for new hires. So plan for a transition period if you're going to be looking for a new job. Okay, now you're fully prepared to fund your mini retirement. And if you want more help planning your mini retirement, I encourage you to watch this video on 4 mini retirement ideas. These are options that you could pursue with your time away from work. As always, thanks so much for watching and enjoy the journey.